It's time to talk about Liverpool's massive problems. Because what's happening right now at Anfield isn't just a bad run, it's a full-on identity crisis. The defending champions, the team that opened the Premier League with 5 straight wins, are now falling apart before our eyes. Arne Slot's Liverpool have lost 5 of their last 6 matches, more defeats than in the entire title-winning campaign last season, and the drop is shocking. From leading the league to sitting 8th, from dominance to disarray, their latest humiliation, a 3-0 loss to Manchester City, has left them 8 points behind Arsenal and exposed every crack in their system.
Yeah, to make that a little bit more clear, we were actually very consistent. But the thing is, we were consistent in losing. So that wasn't the idea about being...
The numbers tell a brutal story. Only 18 goals conceded in the whole of 2023's first half of the season, but already 18 in just 11 matches this time. Only 3 clean sheets. 4 consecutive away defeats, something Liverpool hadn't suffered since 2012, back when Kenny Dalglish was in charge. The aura of invincibility is gone, and the Reds have become fragile, inconsistent, and worst of all, predictable. Arne Slot's early impact has evaporated. In his first 21 away games, he lost just 3 times, but now he's matched that record in 4 consecutive defeats. The system looks confused, the pressing disjointed, and the once fearsome front line feels toothless. And this after Liverpool spent €370 million in the summer to refresh the attack. But what has that investment delivered? Alexander Isak, their marquee signing, has just 1 goal and 1 assist before getting injured. Florian Wirtz, the supposed creative saviour, has yet to score or assist in the Premier League.
We've been tiptoeing around him, haven't we, for a few months, around the fact that he's young, he's coming to a new country, but he's 120 million quid. You're going to have to stand up soon. I mean, he's obviously got something, he's a really good player, he's technically fantastic, but he's been mauled out there today by Núñez and by others. He's been chucked around the pitch. I said a few weeks ago about Kirkes that he looks like a little boy out there. Today I thought Wirtz looked like a little boy, and that can't be the case. You know, he's a German international of great standing, and he looks well short in respect of what you'd expect in a top physical Premier League match.
Only Hugo Ekitike has shown some spark, 5 goals and 1 assist, but he's been fighting alone. And then there's Mohamed Salah. Last season he carried Liverpool to the title with 29 goals and 18 assists. Now he's a shadow of himself, only 5 goals so far, no shots on target against City, and constantly caught offside. The king of Anfield looks lost.
Mo Salah's not playing well. He's a legendary figure, one of the greatest players to ever play in the Premier League, I'd say, alongside yourself. But he's at the stage now where I don't think it should be an absolute guarantee he starts every game, especially away from home, more away from home. I don't think he justifies right now playing every game.
The spiral began after the Community Shield defeat to Crystal Palace, a warning sign that nobody took seriously. Yes, they responded with 7 straight wins, but it was a mirage. The collapse came fast and hard. 4 straight defeats, elimination from the League Cup again by Crystal Palace, a league loss to Brentford, and then that humiliation at the Etihad, with Van Dijk's goal controversially ruled out.
Yeah, I don't think it's affected at all. I think when you look at it, and yeah, Andy Robertson is in an offside position, but Van Dijk, good movement, really good header, and Donnarumma, so we can see the ball, we know we can see the ball the whole way, and Andy Robertson is to the side of him, and Donnarumma is outstretched, he has a full dive as soon as he can. There's no effect from Andy Robertson on that goal for me, and I think if we see from this next angle, Donnarumma, you see here, he puts all his weight on his right foot, which makes it hard for him to get back across the goal, but he dives as soon as Van Dijk heads the ball, and he's on his way, he's diving, and it's a really good header, and the goal should have stood for me.
Even the high points like the 5-1 against Frankfurt or the win in Madrid now feel like distant illusions. This isn't the Liverpool of last season. This is a team searching for itself, bleeding points and losing belief. Something deeper is broken, and it's time we talk about it. All the optimism Liverpool built after back-to-back wins against Aston Villa and Real Madrid evaporated completely under the Manchester rain. What was supposed to be a turning point became another brutal reality check. The Reds weren't just beaten by Manchester City, they were outthought, outplayed and outworked in every single area of the pitch. This wasn't just a loss, It was the heaviest defeat of the Arne Slot era, and the first time Liverpool have failed to score in a Premier League match in almost 14 months. That's how steep the decline has been. Watching them crumble at the Etihad, it was hard to believe this was the same team that dominated Madrid less than a week ago. The contrast was shocking, from structured and confident to disorganised and lifeless. Liverpool's title defence now lies in ruins. 5 defeats in their first 11 league games, a number no defending champion has suffered this early since Chelsea's collapse in 2015-16. The gap with leaders Arsenal sits at 8 points, but what truly hurts isn't the distance, it's how they've fallen behind. Every defeat has come with moments of self-destruction, tactical chaos, and defensive fragility that simply shouldn't exist at this level. And that's where the problem lies, the defence. Liverpool looks shockingly exposed. 17 goals conceded, already more than 15th placed Fulham, compared to just 6 at this same stage last season. The pressing isn't clicking, the backline looks disjointed, and confidence is draining with every match. What was once Liverpool's greatest strength, their collective control and defensive order, has now turned into their biggest weakness. Liverpool's biggest tactical issue this season can be summed up in one word: pressing, or rather the lack of it. Last year, under Arne Slot, their pressure off the ball was already a step down from the Klopp years, but it still worked in key moments. Now, even that faint echo of gegenpressing has disappeared. The numbers don't lie. Possession won in the final third has dropped from 4.5 per 90 minutes to just 3.9. Opponents are stringing together more passes before Liverpool can intervene, up from 8.9 to 9.4 per defensive action, and press sequences have fallen from 12.6 to 10.4. That may sound like small differences, but on the pitch, they're massive. Teams are slicing through Liverpool's first line of pressure with ease, bypassing the midfield entirely and forcing Van Dijk and Konate into more defensive actions than ever. Van Dijk has gone from 8.1 to 11.3 defensive actions per match, Konate from 6.9 to 8.6. In simple terms, the backline is working harder because the front line isn't pressing. The defending from the front, once Liverpool's DNA, is now inconsistent, less frequent, and alarmingly ineffective. Opta data paints the picture clearly. Liverpool are now defending, on average, 8th closest to their own goal in the Premier League. Instead of suffocating opponents high up the pitch, they're being dragged back, forced to scramble in deeper zones. And against Manchester City, that tactical decay was brutally exposed. For City's first goal, Liverpool were passed into oblivion. 20 passes, all 10 City outfielders involved, and not a single meaningful press to stop the sequence. When Matheus Nunes finally crossed, neither Robertson nor Wirtz closed down the space. Both had been pulled out of position by City's relentless circulation. Konate misjudged the flight, Haaland towered over him, and in a flash, it was 1-0. The Norwegian's 14th goal in 11 games, but one that summed up Liverpool's lifeless pressing better than any stat ever could. And then came Doku's goal, the perfect example of Liverpool's structural collapse. Leaving the Belgian free inside the half space is tactical suicide, and that's exactly what happened. Konate stood still, McAllister failed to close him down, and Doku drove into the box unchallenged before unleashing a thunderbolt past Donnarumma. The lack of collective reaction, the hesitation, the space, the silence said everything about this Liverpool side right now. What was once an organised chaos machine under Klopp has become a disorganised shadow under Slot, slow to react, unable to recover, and wide open in the most dangerous zones. The press is broken, and with it, Liverpool's entire defensive identity. Liverpool's defensive collapse hasn't just been about structure, it's also about personnel, and one decision is haunting Arne Slot more than any other: failing to sign Mark Guehi before the August transfer deadline. In hindsight, it's a mistake that's proving costly. Slot spent nearly £500 million rebuilding his midfield and attack, yet somehow neglected the centre of defence, the one area that needed the most urgent reinforcement. French defender Ibrahima Konate has looked completely lost. His performances against Newcastle, Crystal Palace and Manchester City were symptomatic of a deeper issue.
But Konate again, when Liverpool concede a goal, all the problem is at the heart of it, and he's got a big problem away from home. A lot of his big performances this season, Manchester United, he played well. Real Madrid in midweek, he played really well. Arsenal, early in the season, he played really well. But away from home, which is when you need your centre-backs. Your centre-backs need to play well away from home if you're going to get results. And too often this season, he's gone missing away from home.
Lapses in focus, poor positioning, and an alarming lack of aggression. In the Etihad, it was painfully clear. Konate misread Matheus Nunes' cross entirely, allowing Haaland to tower over him for the opener. Yes, Haaland's a monster physically, but that duel looked far too easy for the Norwegian. Konate didn't even challenge him properly, and it's not just him. Virgil van Dijk, once the symbol of composure and authority, now looks looks rattled and exhausted. He's 34, and though his reading of the game remains elite, the years are starting to show. Liverpool can't expect him to bail them out every single week anymore. His leadership is still vital, but physically, he's no longer the unshakable wall he once was. Slot's transfer strategy, so focused on refreshing the attack, has left the defence dangerously exposed. If Liverpool are serious about reviving their season, the January window can't come soon enough. They need a new central defender, one with presence, composure, and leadership, or this could turn into a long, painful winter at Anfield. Liverpool's defensive problems go far beyond errors and bad luck. They come down to something far more fundamental: coordination, timing, and positioning.
Not good signs for Liverpool when you're considering they're champions. Not stopping crosses, not pressing, not doing the basics right. Liverpool have been dreadful.
These are the core elements of any solid defensive setup, and right now they're completely missing. With so many new faces in the squad, it's no surprise that everything looks disjointed. Players not only have to learn each other's movements in attack, but also rebuild defensive chemistry from scratch, and that takes time, something Liverpool simply haven't had. This season's newcomers Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak are not only adjusting to the Premier League, but also to Arne Slot's system, which is still evolving. None of them carry the pressing instincts drilled into players during the Klopp era. Back then, recruits needed months to adapt to the high-intensity press and positional discipline that defined Liverpool. Even Fabinho, who became one of the best defensive midfielders in the world, took months to find his rhythm after joining. The same was true for Andy Robertson, who had to wait to earn his starting spot. Klopp's players had time to learn the triggers, the pressing cues, and the tactical rules that made Liverpool so effective out of possession. Under Slot, that process has been accelerated, or rather, skipped entirely. These players were thrown straight into the fire.
Take Wirtz out of it. Yes, I know it's tough. Every manager wants to stick with their players that they've spent big money on, never mind 115 million. But get back to what was working last season.
If you're spending over 100 million pound on a player, he has to start. You can't say
it's
to
affecting the team. You can't.
Well,
it's not as if you're going to leave him on the bench for the whole season. It's about taking him out and thinking, you know what? It's a new league. Premier League is not the Bundesliga. It isn't. It's a lot harder. It's a lot faster. You can't just keep playing him because you're buying for that amount of money.
There's no adjustment period for £100 million signings like Wirtz or Isak, and no patience for fullbacks like Kerkez or Frimpong, who are still learning how to press in Slot's shape. It's not the players' fault, it's a structural issue caused by trying to rebuild too much, too fast. Without that collective understanding, Liverpool's pressing and defensive timing are a mess. The synchronisation that once made them terrifying to play against is gone, replaced by a patchwork of individuals reacting too late or stepping too early. And as Klopp used to say, counter-pressing is your best playmaker. When that's gone, the whole system collapses. Now we need to talk about the crisis of the entire system. When Liverpool shattered the British transfer record by signing Alexander Isak for £125 million, it felt like the final touch to a dream window. 7 first-team arrivals, each handpicked to push the reigning champions into a new era. Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong from Leverkusen, Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth, Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt, Giovanni Leoni from Parma, and goalkeeper Georgi Mamardashvili, who finally joined after a year on loan in Spain. On paper, this looked like a masterclass in squad-building depth, youth, versatility. Liverpool weren't just defending their crown, they were planning to dominate for years, but football rarely follows the script of a transfer announcement. Winning the transfer window has not translated into success on the pitch. Instead, this Liverpool feels like a team in transition, struggling to find rhythm amid too much change. Last season, continuity was Slot's hidden weapon. He named the same starting Ongai 7 times, something Klopp only managed 5 times in nearly 500 games. That consistency gave Liverpool its identity. A settled core, a predictable structure, a midfield that controlled every tempo. Now that core is gone. Injuries, tactical experiments and rotation have disrupted everything. The once stable trio of Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and McAllister, who started 28 of 56 games last year, have shared the pitch just twice this season.
About being consistent. Consistent doing the things right, which we have to do, and improving in that way.
McAllister's pre-season injury left him lagging behind in fitness, and Szoboszlai has been used as an emergency right-back. The chemistry that defined Liverpool's midfield has evaporated. Into that chaos stepped Florian Wirtz, the £100 million prodigy expected to ignite Slot's new project. Yet in 11 Premier League appearances, he's still searching for his first goal or assist. The criticism has come quickly. Wayne Rooney summed up the scepticism. It's not about I just don't see where he fits in that system. But perhaps that's too harsh. Too soon. Wirtz has quietly created more chances than anyone in the squad except Cody Gakpo, and his technical brilliance is clear to anyone watching closely. The Germans' creativity doesn't always show up on the stat sheet: the clever passes, the body feints, the subtle rhythm changes that open defences. And when the stakes were highest, Wirtz shone.
Before Wirtz received the ball, he first noticed Salah on the right wing. But instead of Gakpo passing the ball in front of Wirtz, he passed it behind him towards his left foot. So Wirtz improvised with a clever back heel pass to Salah, who missed the target.
Against Real Madrid, he was everywhere, pressing, creating, dictating play. He assisted in that match and was arguably Liverpool's best player on the pitch. So yes, this team is struggling to gel. Yes, Slot's system still looks unfinished. But amid the turbulence, Wirtz might yet prove to be the player that connects the old Liverpool to the new one, the bridge between Klopp's chaos and Slot's control. The same patience being asked for Florian Wirtz must also extend to Alexander Isak, whose slow start has a clear explanation. The Swedish striker arrived at Anfield far from his physical peak, having spent most of the summer locked in a standoff with Newcastle United to force his £125 million move. By the time he joined up with Arne Slot's squad, his match fitness was nowhere near Premier League standard. In his 8 appearances so far, he's shown flashes of brilliance, like his clever assist for Cody Gakpo's equaliser against Chelsea. But he still looks several weeks away from being the explosive forward Liverpool thought they were getting. It's not that Isak has lost his quality, it's that his rhythm is gone, his movement is sharp, his instincts intact, but the finishing touch and pressing intensity that once made him unplayable at Newcastle haven't fully returned. And in a team already struggling for cohesion, a striker below full fitness only amplifies the problem. Meanwhile, at the back, the newcomers Milos Kerkez and Jeremy Frimpong have found the Premier League to be a different beast. Both fullbacks were brought in to modernise Liverpool's transitions to press high, overlap relentlessly and inject pace into Slot's system, but their adaptation has been inconsistent. Kerkez has looked bright in attack, but vulnerable in defensive duels, while Frimpong's electric pace has been offset by positional lapses that opponents have exploited again and again. To make matters worse, Liverpool's most promising young defender, Giovanni Leoni, is out for the season after tearing his ACL just weeks after making a hugely promising debut against Southampton. His injury leaves the squad thinner and puts even more pressure on Van Dijk and Konate, a pairing already struggling for form. Amid all the turbulence, Hugo Ekitike has been the one genuine success story. With 6 goals and an assist in 16 games, he's been Liverpool's most consistent attacking outlet, blending creativity with killer instinct. It's a reflection of Liverpool's season as a whole, potential everywhere, stability nowhere. Liverpool's problems this season haven't just come from their new signings, they've also come from their most experienced stars failing to deliver.
Fans lost it. Wirtz was standing wide open, begging for his first Liverpool goal. Salah saw him, thought about it for half a second, then went full hero mode and missed from the craziest angle possible. You could literally see Wirtz ready to explode.
The summer of 2025 was always going to mark the end of an era at Anfield. A wave of departures hit hard. Trent Alexander-Arnold informed the club months in advance of his decision to join Real Madrid as a free agent. Luis Diaz forced through a £65.5 million move to Bayern Munich. And Darwin Núñez made clear his desire to leave for Saudi Arabia after a blocked transfer the previous January. Add to that the tragic passing of Diogo Jota in July, a devastating loss, both emotionally and footballistically. And it's clear Liverpool entered this campaign already wounded. The numbers tell the story. Those 5 players alone accounted for over 2,700 competitive minutes each last season. Their exits left a hole too large to fill overnight, especially in a system as demanding as Arne Slot's. But what has made this transition even more painful is how several of the remaining veterans, those expected to steady the ship, have fallen well below their standards. The most glaring case is Mohamed Salah. Once Liverpool's unshakable talisman, he now looks like a shadow of himself. Last season, he delivered one of the best individual campaigns in Premier League history, 34 goals and 23 assists across all competitions. Today, his sharpness has vanished. His combined non-penalty expected goals and assists per 90 minutes have plummeted to 0.34, less than half his average from last season's 0.87, and far below his career mark at Liverpool, 0.79. The numbers are backed by what we see on the pitch. In 11 Premier League matches, Salah has managed only 15 non-penalty shots, compared to 22 at the same stage last year. He's missing chances that, in previous seasons, felt automatic. One-on-ones against Manchester United, a sitter versus Chelsea.
It's to Kerkez, 2 of the new signings. Missed by Dorgu. Salah! The cop can't believe it.
Even routine finishes he used to bury with eyes closed. For the first time in a decade, the Egyptian king looks human. Can Liverpool recover? Arne Slot didn't mince his words. The margin still exists, but we have to react now. The Dutchman understands what's at stake. The next few matches will define Liverpool's season. After the international break, they'll face Nottingham Forest, then West Ham, with a crucial Champions League clash against PS5 in between. But history offers little comfort. In over a century of English football, only 3 teams have ever gone on to win the league, after losing 5 of their first 11 games. That statistic hangs over Anfield like a dark cloud. Liverpool still have the talent, the depth, and a manager capable of rebuilding. Yet the Premier League is merciless. It punishes hesitation, inconsistency, and doubt. Right now, the defending champions are standing at the very edge of a competitive cliff, staring down at a season that could either mark their revival or their collapse.